All right, movies. Now we're gonna do our top 5 movies of 2009. And my list, I have to say, before we start off, I took off a couple of movies that probably would have made it, that were better movies. There's actually better movies than the one that I put as number 5, because we were just talking about this. Number 5 for me is Watchmen. And I'm with you, it's a really slow movie. And especially the second half, but the first half is so cool. I guess for me, it made me really interested in the comic. And it did something for me that most movies don't do, and that was like, it really kind of captured me. And I love the characters in the movie, and they're really well fleshed out. And I love the overall storyline, but I'm with you. It is a very slow movie.
I really liked it, but I just felt it was just a little too slow. They would have been an excellent movie if they would have sped up the pace.
They could have cut it down to 2 hours, and it probably would have been better for
there's stuff they could have cut.
There is stuff they could have cut and kept the pacing up and kept it.
But he was really trying to be faithful.
And I totally get why he did that. It made me want to read the graphic novels.
Watchmen was also my number 5, and for all the same reasons.
Jump over to his list
No,
now.
I want to do the 5s and then
we're not doing that?
Well, we didn't do it last time, so
Go ahead.
Let's do it.
no. Number 4, Avatar.
Oh, Avatar made your list.
It made my list. Purely on entertainment value and 3D and how beautiful it was. The second time I saw it, which we saw it again, or I saw it again,
So Devil Take the Story.
It was better. Yeah, we'll talk about our overall thoughts, but for Avatar, because it's an experience to be believed. So, number 3 for me. I don't know why I said that. I say stupid things and I just keep moving on like they didn't happen.
And I choose to bring them back for some scrutiny.
Yes. Number 3, Taken. I loved that movie. That was an awesome, just kick-ass movie. Like, just balls to the wall, awesome.
Yeah.
Liam Neeson, man.
And this is where I get in. When I get to the top of my list, I'm starting to go, I'm not going to care about technical reasons. This is all just like what entertained me the most.
Yeah.
Number 2 for me was Star Trek. Totally entertaining. Okay. There's some far-fetched things in it, but I loved that movie. I thought that the way that they reinvented the franchise, which I wasn't a huge Star Trek fan before, is awesome. Number 1, District 9. And I think that the way...
It needs to be up. No, it needs to be up there.
Dude, District 9, it took entertainment and it took like that awesome storyline that The Watchmen tried to do, and it put those together to create an awesome, very cool, action-packed sequence. And I love that movie. I watched it again on Blu-ray.
The pacing is perfect.
Yeah, it really is. It's a little bit over 2 hours, and it does not feel like it. So
that's good.
Like I said earlier, Watchmen is my number 5, because I thought we were doing the order a little differently. Basically, there's 2 reasons why Watchmen is on my list. 1, the opening credit sequence blew my mind. Yeah. 2, Rorschach, and that's all I'll say.
Yeah.
Number 4 is Star Trek. Hugely entertaining, totally unexpected. I'm not a Trekkie by any means. I much prefer Star Wars over Star Trek, but went there. I mean, J.J. Abrams put his magical touch on it. It was sleek, it was fun, it was humorous. You really, engage with the characters. People that had been part of the Star Trek universe for a long time, he reinvented them. It was great. Number 3 was Inglourious Bastards, which, I like Quentin Tarantino a lot, but I'm not necessarily for all of his excess, but I just loved the dialogue. Like, how can a movie like Inglourious Bastards have it's supposed to, it was billed as kind of an action movie, and so you go in there expecting all this brutal violence and stuff like that, and it was actually on a pretty minimal scale, except for a few certain scenes.
Yeah.
The rest of it is just talking, and he writes dialogue like nobody else, and I was just caught up in it, and I loved.
I actually was I was debating between Watchmen and Inglourious Bastards, because those 2 were the ones where I loved Inglourious Bastards but I had the same problem with Inglourious Bastards I had with Watchmen. I felt like the pacing was a little slow, yet I understood why he had to do it for the movie, so I understood it, but it was one of those things because the dialogue is incredible now.
Yeah. So, I mean, the bar scene, I know everybody talks about the opening scene with the farmer, which that's great, but I just loved the whole sequence in the bar. And if you haven't seen the movie, go see it and watch the bar scene because it's great. Number 2 is Taken. That was, once again, kind of an unexpected movie that I just I heard about it from a couple people, went and saw it with my wife. We both walked out of the theater just being like, wow, as far as like Jason Bourne type, the Bourne Identity movies go, you never expect Liam Neeson to be that badass, but he is, and it was awesome. So lots of great action sequences in that movie. And then finally, my number one is District 9 for everything that.
Which you haven't
Go
seen.
figure.
Would
No,
you
it's
even
on my Netflix queue, but it's just
Get it
taking
and watch it.
Dude, I have it on
forever to
Blu-ray.
get
I will
here.
bring it
Seriously,
in
the
and
thing,
just let you
the
borrow
thing
it.
that
Hold me
blows
up
my
on it.
I
mind
just got
about
it,
this
like, a couple
movie
days ago.
is that the way he ties apartheid into the movie, like, you know, it's done looking at aliens and humans, but the opening parts, like the opening, 2 minutes of the movie, are using actual interviews from a documentary that he did on apartheid in South America or South Africa, and so.
That's right, I forgot
Are you
about
sure?
Yeah, I'm positive. I read that like in an interview with him, and so it's just cool to see how he grafts the two worlds together. It's the perfect action thinking man's movie. So.
Yeah.
that. Beautiful. My number 5, Defiance.
And that just barely didn't make my list. I
That
love
was
that
the
movie.
same with me.
I really like that movie because I mean, there's been Holocaust movies out and done before, but this was just such a
was a unique
different-
take.
It's like everybody else's story. We're hearing a couple like Valkyrie
Yeah.
Yeah.
came out, and that was
Valkyrie
somebody
was really
else's
good,
story
too.
again. But this story, just the way that they had to live and the way they adapted to what was happening was just
They became socialists.
basically. But it works in little communities, not in America.
Right.
So it just was the way that they changed and the way that they all came together. It was just really cool. It was gritty, but it wasn't so gritty like that blindness movie that made me sick. But it was just really cool. So
Yeah.
that was my number 5. Number 4, I know I'm gonna get a lot of crap for this. The Proposal.
You know, I heard that a lot of people like that
I haven't
movie.
seen it, so I
have-
can't give you crap
I
about
have a soft side for some romantic.
I think we all like
comedy
romantic
movies.
comedies to some extent.
This movie, I'm a huge fan of Ryan Reynolds already, and Sandra Bullock is already awesome too. So putting those two, they just played really well together in the characters they were, how they transformed. I just really liked that movie. So that movie made my number 4. My wife loved it too. Go figure.
She might have influenced that decision then. I'm just kidding.
Number 3 was
She's like looking through your list.
no, change
Nix.
this one up.
Out.
You need to put this one. No. My number 3 was I Love You, Man.
Oh yeah,
Oh,
the
yeah.
bromance movie.
Yeah, the bromance movie. Only because Paul Rudd is.
You love
like-
Paul Rudd.
I am starting to just really.
He's
love
your
Paul Rudd.
bromance.
He's apparently my bromance. He just how awkward and funny he is, and the stupid. He's like.
He's in
"Hey, Joven."
everything.
All of a sudden, he popped up out of nowhere, and he's in everything with Andy Samberg, of all people. I really love that movie. It's
He was in
hilarious.
Clueless first, so
Who?
Clueless.
he's in Clueless.
That was before.
my
That was before you
gosh.
even like.
That's where he started.
You're totally right.
Before your balls had dropped, he was in that show.
Exactly.
Anyway, so my number 2 was The Hangover, which have you guys seen that yet?
No,
You
I
got a lot
haven't
of
seen either
comedies
one of
on
these.
yours.
I know. Well, I do like comedies.
We're all like film critic, and
The-
thinking
The
man movie
Hangover.
over here.
I mean, there wasn't, and the thing I didn't like about The Hangover, there wasn't a lot of repeater lines, but the movie was still freaking hilarious.
I hear
Just
it's
all
like
the
one of the best
stuff that
comedies.
was in, that they were stuck in, the situations, and what happened was just funny, even though there wasn't my favorite part, which were repeater lines, some things you can always take back with you. My number 1, I've been trying to hold my breath because it's on both of your guys' lists, and I was trying not to get too excited about it, but my number 1 is Taken.
Oh yeah, number 1.
My number 1.
Oh wow.
Yeah, it was just seeing, I mean, the fury in a father's eyes kind of deal.
Yeah.
That whole situation, the way
The
it was
phone
done.
conversation, man.
I will find you. And then he's
Oh.
like, can you say the word sorry? Or, oh my
Yeah.
my blood was just like, and I was all, I just want to go kick some butt after I saw
Yeah,
the
it
movie.
was
But
awesome.
Liam Neeson just did such
It's not a
an
perfect movie,
amazing
but it's
job.
immensely entertaining.
I do have
Yeah.
to say, like, it is incredible that this year was just an amazing year for movies. Like, because as you're
Yeah.
talking about movies like Defiance, and like,
Well, there's even other ones that didn't make.
yeah, like
you
you
know,
sent off this list of all
None,
of
none
them.
of us mentioned Up.
I know, which
I
was
mean,
a great movie.
Phenomenal movie. I mean, State of Play. If you haven't
Never
seen that
seen
movie,
that.
it was phenomenal. It was a really good thriller
Right.
drama. There's no action in it, but I mean, even X-Men Origins Wolverine. For all the flack that it got, it was a fun movie to watch.
It was a lot of fun
so,
to watch, yeah.
So that's kind of our honorable mentions there a little bit, but I mean, yeah.
X-Men Wolverine does not make my list on that.
You have to admit, from an action standpoint, it was cool.
I had a lot of fun with that movie. I went in with low expectations because everybody had been saying crap about it.
So
and
did
so
I.
I went in not expecting anything, and I got a really fun ride. So there you go.